This is Caroline and Jane Kurtz's brief but heartfelt take on getting to 100 books with Ready, Set, Go books.
When we headed off to Ethiopia, we had a lot of energy but not much knowledge about what was coming next. When we were in Maji, Ethiopia, we learned to read, and we learned to read from a mom who loved to read to her family.
But we spent a lot of time in imagination games, making up stories. We ran around the hillsides of Ethiopia with our dad. We picked fern babies and ran down the hill to a waterfall where we floated things down the river.
Imagine our amazement decades later to be back at that same waterfall with 4 artists. We brainstormed with them, and they worked with some young artists and told them a story that our friend Betty had told us and created illustrations. Amazing. They turned it into a book. When we saw that, we wanted more. Ready, Set, Go books had left the starting line.
Our first task was to find illustrators for the little stories Janie and I were writing. We took an entire year to get to the first 10. We were pretty proud of them. And having 10 books meant we could take them to Ethiopia. And I got to be the one to carry boxes of books with me and to share them with children in Ethiopia and to see their fascination with illustrations and stories in their own languages. It was just as much fun watching the adults. The young man in the center stared at one of the books for a long time and then looked up at me and said, "That says count for me in my language."
After that, we decided that we were doing too much. We needed some help. And I brainstormed with Eleanor Angelides. We turned the production and distribution over to Open Hearts Big Dreams. We still needed to find illustrators and words and put them together. And we needed to find translators. And to do all of that, we gathered a whole design team. Now Ready, Set, Go Books was really off and running. We didn't bring a PhD in reading field to this enterprise, but what we did bring to it is a long-time love of Ethiopia, going all the way back to our childhoods. I brought years of writing children's books, some of them set in Ethiopia, others about loving and trying to save the earth. I brought my teaching career at a graduate program in children's literature and author visits all around the world. I've also spent decades with literacy volunteering in Ethiopia, getting a chance to see how hungry Ethiopian kids are for books and education. And my reward for that was getting an Ethiopian daughter-in-law and Ethiopian grandchildren and getting to fill their lives with books too.
What I brought to the table was 6 years of teaching in Ethiopia in a girls' school, where I made friends as an adult with Ethiopians, was immersed in the culture, also added to my knowledge of Amharic, including starting to read, and went back in my memory to years in Ethiopia, to the childhood days of playing cross-cultural games, the fun times, the scary times, and pulling it all together into a memoir. That also gave me a chance to connect again with Maji, and now I run a nonprofit there, the only one in the district. We have brought water to a village. We have brought lights to a clinic and now a hospital because they lie beyond the grid and have no electricity. And we're bringing electricity into the homes via solar, into the homes of rural farmers that have no access otherwise to electricity. It's also given me a chance to connect my 2 loves, the Ready, Set, Go books and the project in Maji, with 2 books about Maji and about the solar project. What having 100 titles means to me is more and more children in Maji will have a chance to read cute little stories with colorful illustrations, and some of them even we've gotten translated into the Dizi language, which has only recently been put into writing. And that means we again have adults who have never seen their language in writing before and are seeing them in cute little stories. Some of these adults are probably going to be learning to read with their children, and others, we hope, will be part of a program that I'm doing with Eleanor in Open Hearts, Big Dreams called Read to Mom, which we're going to expand as soon as COVID lets us work on that.
For me, getting to 100 titles has meant getting a chance to work with my grandchildren. They worked with me on some of the early stories, doing both the art and making up stories. And then as they got older, they did research and wrote more books with me. I've also gotten a chance to tell some of the favorite stories from my own childhood, but set in an Ethiopian setting. I invented a brave girl reader, just like some of the girls that are reading our Ready, Set, Go books. And I had a chance to do what my dad always loved to do with stories, make people laugh.
100 titles. How did we get that many creative ideas? Well, we went back to our childhood. We thought of our home with a mud plaster wall and the homes of people around us. We thought of bad hair days.
We started gathering other people's ideas. We love that command to go outside. We used to love being outside in Maji and climbing the trees. We love it that people have wanted to write books about trees. We love it that people have wanted to write about history that we didn't learn when we were children. And we have loved the idea of the Ethiopian proverbs and the wisdom in them. This one says that when spiders unite, they can even stop a lion.
On one of my trips to Maji, someone shared another Ethiopian proverb with me: a thief loves chaos. I thought, that's a little dark for a children's book, unless the thief is a dog. And once we found the right illustrator, we had another in our series of proverb-based books. Then we started hearing from Ethiopians who thanked us for helping them pass on Ethiopian traditions and proverbs to their children.
One more proverb kind of sums up where we have loved the most being part of Ready, Set, Go books. It says that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. We have been so honored to work with a team of Ethiopians and Americans, people that have helped us with translation, people that have helped us review the books. And also we've gotten a chance to go back to Ethiopia again. And one of the things we got to do was to recruit Ethiopian illustrators and see their art in the pages of the Ready, Set, Go books. It has been an honor to be part of passing the joy of reading along in our own families.
And for children in Ethiopia, because there's no better way to pass on book love than to pass on books with cute little stories and colorful illustrations. Thank you for helping us get to 100 titles.